you taking over the halfway house and all of
Yeah.
that good
So
jazz.
it's so much more than that, but that's what most people know. So yeah. I was running a 90-man recovery support services program. Um, my 6-month-old granddaughter died. My son overdosed twice. It's also about the time that Bert died. And look, man, people could say what they want to about Bert Prentice. And I literally, the only time I've ever walked out of a show was for him. We had a love to hate relationship. I didn't agree with most of his business practices or anything, but he did teach me a lot of really good stuff in this business. And to be honest with you, I never would have gotten the WWE gig if it wasn't for him. Like he set that audition up for me and all that stuff. So he died too, and I'd already lost my mind, man. I'd already relapsed when that happened, but I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to go on, man. I literally remember saying that I wanted to die with a needle in my arm. And August 21st of 21 is my last day of use. Actually, the 20th is August 21st is my sobriety date. But I wake up that morning to water under me, and my girlfriend and I just broke up too. Like it was just one thing after another. But I woke up to water under me, and I was like, "Man, what is going on?" And I think it's a leak in, like some kind of leak in the house or something, because I'm that messed up. There's no reason I should have been able to go to sleep that night, but I did, and I was supposed to have a bed. And had I got that bed from my ex at that time, I would be dead today. But I wake up that morning, water under me, and I do what all sane, normal, rational people do. I grab my dope first, and then my phone, and I go to try to figure out what's going on. So it's a little 800 square foot house that a guy that came through my program had, and he let me come stay there. But I go to see what's going on in the house, and I go into the kitchen and back into the bedroom. And by the time I get back in the bedroom, water's about halfway up to my knees. I'm like, what is going on? So I get anything that's important to me, and like pictures from my grandmother, just any sentimental, anything that's sentimental to me, and I try to put it up high, to for safekeeping. And when I get back into the kitchen, water's about up to my waist now. And I called my mom in the beginning, told her, that I was freaking out, I didn't know what was going on. And then I get up on the island in the kitchen, and I call my mom back. And as I'm calling her, I'm like, freaking out, like, Mom, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what she's going to do. She's in Central City, Kentucky. I'm in Waverly, Tennessee. So I, all the next things that I'm going to tell you, all this happens simultaneously. So I see a refrigerator float past me, smoke coming from, like, in my peripheral vision, and the house literally comes off the foundation with me in it. Like, I literally feel the house move, and the wall that I'm facing gives way, and I'm assuming the weight of the water, and I'm ejected from the house. So right at that time too, like, and again, all this is not like right at one time. There's something outside that house that um looked to me at the time, and you got to realize where my brain was, but like it looked to me like a structure of another house. Okay, Stevens, you're welcome for me throwing structure in there, but but the structure from another house that's like falling down. It looks like a war zone, and I hit it and get a concussion. I'm almost knocked out. I'm literally fighting for my life at this point. I'm sucked in up under that, and I can't get out. Like I'm taking in water. I really am resigned to the fact that I'm gonna die. And I just start praying, man. Like, and something, and nothing but the grace of God is what I say. But somehow I get pushed out up in under that and out of that, and I end up literally for the next, I don't know how long, but for a half a mile is the length that I fought. Like I was swimming, fighting off stuff, and being rushed by the current of the water, just trying to fight off everything and get to safety. And finally, I end up at this. There's an old feed store in Waverly, and it was a big store with like several columns in front of it. There's a guy holding on to one of the poles. And I hear people up on high ground trying to give us instructions. They were just telling me to hold on to that with him. And so we do. And then about that time, this truck comes barreling toward us again. This is water, all making this stuff happen. Boats floating past me, cars like, and again, I wish you could put pictures up. I've got pictures of my car on a building like this, like the tail end of my car is up on the top of the building with the nose in like that. But so I'm at that feed store. We're holding on to that. This truck comes barreling in towards. I think I'm done again at this point, and we're able to somehow, man, we're able to like guide it in to us, and it just stops right there. We climb on top of that truck, on top of there was like an awning of it, so the roof of that awning, and then there was a higher roof as well. So we're up there, and he's freaking out, like, what are we gonna do, man? Um, One lady comes like floating up. We help her get up there, and this, and I'll probably cry again when I tell this, man. But she floats up in, and I remember like praying, and as I raised my head up from praying, this woman, and I'd obviously already seen her. We helped her get up there, but her face is busted, and she's got nothing on but a shirt and her underwear. I'm literally in my underwear and a polo shirt, and she says, "Son, I don't know what your Bible tells me, but mine tells me that where two or more are gathered, that He'll be in our midst." And she started praying the most beautiful prayers and singing like beautiful hymns, and like I felt at peace, man. I felt like I was going to be okay. I had no idea what, why, or how, but another lady ended up floating up. She didn't have the strength to get up there. We finally are able to pull her up there, only to find out that she has stage 4 lung cancer. Her daughter is across the street. She had climbed up on top of a tractor trailer. The guy thought that his family was gone. Listen, man, 21 people died that day in the floods of Waverly in August 21st of 21. What ended up happening is, it obviously rained, but a lot of rain fell really fast, and a levee broke, and like an 8-foot wave, like literally came through and ravaged the whole town. Again, this Waverly is about 2,000 or 3,000 people, and it was 2,000. 10% of the population died that day. So a helicopter ends up coming and rescuing us off the top of the building, and I get to safety. This sweet little couple ended up getting me some clothes to change into, fed me, and I just remember passing out. But the, sometime later, way later that day, they ended up getting a staging area at a Baptist church, and they take me over there, and whenever phone service comes back on, I don't remember how long it was. I have no concept of time during any of this, but I called my mom back, and I told her to call my old director of operations at Safe Harbor, and then I don't know why, but I told her, I said, don't do that. I said, all they're going to want to do is want me to go back to work there, and I need to work on me. So I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew that wasn't it. So I sleep on an army cot for a day or two, and the guy that had the house ended up finding me there. And Jackson, you'll think this is funny. Cindy Parton from that comes to all the shows. Cindy, Cindy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So she ends up putting it all over Facebook that, because my name was on the missing persons report, and she was like, "Y'all, is this the Troy Beasley?" And Chase was like, "Who else is going to name their kids that?" but yeah, literally, like, she ends up coming down there trying to find me, and nobody knew where I was. But so it's hit Facebook now. Everybody's freaking out, and the buddy that I was living with came and found me there, and he was like, "You're going back to Safe Harbor now." And I was ready to fight him. I was like, "That's not what I need to do, bro." I said, "I don't have the answer. I don't know what it is, but I'm not going back there." I said, that place saved my life, and I love that place. I still work with them today, but I knew that's not what I needed. So he said, "What about hustle recovery?" And I said, "Call Troy right now," and the other Troy. And Troy lived about 2 hours away, and within 2.5 hours, he was there to get me. I had met Troy when I was running Safe Harbor. He had a friend overdose and die, and he was really, in his feelings about it, and made a Facebook post about, like, look, I'm tired of watching my people die. If you or anyone needs help, call me. Look, and about 20 days in, that, like, it took off quick, but he started getting calls about 20 days in, and people like, I hear you can help people get into rehab. He was like, that's not what I meant at all. But he knew that he had to try to do something, so he started calling people. And it was during COVID, and he called every treatment center within a 200-mile radius. And I was one of those calls. And he said, "Hey, my name's Troy. I'm a recovering addict. I'm tired of watching my people die." That day, he was met on the phone by me. My name is also Troy. I'm also in recovery, and I'm tired of watching my people die too. How can I help you? And he just wanted to figure out how to help people get in treatment. So Troy came to get me, and I always get emotional when I get here too, man. So he came in and picked me up off that army cot and gave me the biggest hug I've ever had in my life, man. And again, I knew that I was going to be okay. I didn't know what plan he had set out for me. I didn't know anything, but he had a sober living house. He took me there for the night and then got me into treatment in Elizabethtown, Kentucky at Commitment House. And while I was there, for the first time, even like when I ran Safe Harbor, I didn't do things the way that they need to be done. Like I tried to rush through it all and like do it my way instead of taking suggestions from other people. And that's why I ended up in the situation I did when my granddaughter died and all that happened. But so I got up there and I didn't have to worry about work. I didn't have to worry about anything but recovering. And I put that work in. And so I get there, it's in August, and about October, he called me. He was like, "Man, I want you to look at something." All right, what do you got? And he sent me the pictures of this property in Jolton, Tennessee. Um, and I was like, "What do you got in mind, man?" And he said, "I want to run a recovery support services center out of this with a back to work program, and I'd like for you to be a part of it." And I was like, "Troy," I said, "I'll help you." I said, "I'll be an advisor or something like that, but I can't go to work back in the recovery field full time." And so we start talking through things and making plans. And then once I finish IOP there, I go to a sober living house up there. I had no plans of coming back down here, like none whatsoever. I wanted to start my life back over there. And I got back with my ex for a while. And I started coming down here on the weekends. And one of the weekends I was here, he invited me to come out and look at what is now the Kingdom. And when I came, like I could just feel like this is right, man. And I just wanted to help him from a distance. I didn't want to dive back in head first, and I again be trying to do things my way. But so he showed me the property, made me an offer, and it was the best offer I've had since I've been in this line of work. A very, very good offer. And actually, I told him when he made me the offer, and I'm not going to tell the number, obviously, but when he made me the offer, I was like, "Bro," I said, "that's too much." I said, if I'm running your business, I'm going to run it like mine, and you can't afford to pay me that right out of the gates." I said, "Let's start," and I gave him a smaller number. "Let's start there and work toward there." And he was blown away. He was like, "Man, I don't think I've ever had anybody undercut me." He said, "But that makes me respect you that much more." So fast forward to today, Hustle Recovery has helped 17 people get into treatment. Um, an intern will find you placement within hours. We'll get you there. We'll come get you trap house from your baby's mama's front yard, wherever we have to, and we'll get you there and try to remove any barriers that we can so you can actually focus on your recovery. Through doing that, we've been able to acquire 5 properties, and all of the properties have come in the last year and 2 years. He got the first one in June of 21, And during that time, we've acquired 5 properties. I ended up Valentine's Day of that year. I ended up getting T-boned, taking somebody to a treatment, and I moved back down here. I got a job at Gibson Guitar. I was doing pretty well, but I got T-boned and messed my neck up, and there was no way that I could do that kind of work anymore. So I called him back. We were already working together, but I called him. I was like, man, I said, I really need to come stay in one of the sober living houses until I can work through this neck injury or whatever. And he said, this is crazy, bro. Like he was literally picking his phone up to call me when I called him. He needed me to come run that for him, which if you're running a sober living, like it's not a full-time job. Like you just need to be able there to collect rent and make sure people are going to meetings and stuff. Like it's not a full-time job. But he said, I really think, that this is God showing both of us that you're supposed to run the kingdom, and it didn't even have a name yet. We had acquired this property, an $800,000 property, 32-bed facility, and he said, "You're really supposed to be running this." And I knew then that I was, and so I came out here, and we started in August. Today we house 35 people. I have a staff of 4 here. We have employed, today we employ about 50 people. We have the capability of housing 70 people. We've got, so this place, and then a female house in Ashland City. And then we've got a male and a female place in Antioch. From what we've done here at the Kingdom, we've now turned all of our houses into that. And we're being super successful with all of it. Like we're already in the black, and like I said, we've got our first graduating class coming up this weekend. All of those guys have gotten a full-time job, which they work for us at different partners where we're getting them hired on full-time. They've all got about $5,000 saved up in the bank and got a real shot at life, man. I went on from being the director here. Now I'm the regional director over all 5 properties. And, 4, the 5th one we're doing something else with. But I have a total staff of 7 or 8 at all the properties, and we're having a lot of success, man. Watching a lot of people recover and get their lives back.
That's awesome. So what I was gonna put into that is because in this business, as in most of the businesses like this, addiction rate is like super duper high. It's like it's actors, like anything in the entertainment field, chefs, anything like a high stress. So like, man, you are like, to where you are right now, you are like the perfect person to be kind of around the business, because like it happens because you're running those towns 4 days a week, some 4, 5, 6 days a week, and they always fall into these like habits. And I mean, man, I know that you're doing that thing, but like I feel like you're a good addition to the business in the whole, because you're an ear that's already been through it, and you can give some good advice to people.
That, and I can show people that it could be done and still do that too. Look, I don't take many bookings now because like I can't go back into that world full time. Like I have a phenomenal life now. The wrestling is now my part-time job or whatever. I take about 2 or 3 weekends a month. I still do some boxing stuff, but I've had high profile people reach out to me. I wouldn't dare say their names, but reach out to me for help. And some of them I've helped. Some of them, they once I tell them what they got to do, they don't want it. But I've never like shoved recovery down anybody's throat or any of that stuff. But I just hope that I can show people that it can be done in this business too. Wrestling will always be a passion of mine. I'm always going to be involved on some level, but it can be done. You just have to make sure that God and your recovery are first, and everything else will fall into line, man. And I wanted to do all this again because they say I had a good time during my WWE run and all that stuff. I don't remember. Like I barely remember any of that stuff. I do have a lot of stories, but one of the only memories I've got is, when you and I talk about me being a WWE, I was the first announcer for Deep South Wrestling when they opened their developmental territory in Atlanta or McDonough. But I told people for a long time that I had to leave for medical reasons. The truth of the matter is that I showed up to a show out of my mind one night. Sean Schultz was with me. I can't remember if anybody else was with us or not, but Bill DeMott, humorist, for those of y'all who don't know, head WWE trainer for years, called me out in front of the whole locker room, and about me being high, and I admitted to it, and I had worked Jody Hamilton, the assassin that ran the power plant, to give me money to go get a script, and I did way too much. I messed up the whole show, and instead of me facing that like a man, like I didn't go back. I went back after a long time after and mended those fences. I still talk to Bill some today, and up until Jody's dying day, I would talk to him some too. But I almost destroyed any relationship that I have, and I've built them all back and then more now. But I wanted to do it all again with a clear mind, and the brotherhood that we have, like it just I love that, and I respect that more than anything in the world, and I just wanted to do it with a clear mind. And so, like, and I said we'd come back to it. Perfect example. Cassidy Riley had his last match this weekend, and there was no way I was going to miss that. I would have never made that for anything in the world before, unless I was booked on it. And there was no way I was going to miss that. Like I told you earlier, Cassidy's one of the first one that showed me around here and got me the Forever Hardcore. I helped make that documentary, all the Hardcore Homecoming shows, like all that before. Actually, I was doing that stuff working for WWE on a project that Jeremy Borash and Shane Douglas were running. So, so I want to be able to be there today when I should be, and going down there and doing that this weekend, and trying to keep Chase as tame as possible. But went and had a good time. They put on a match for the ages. Both left their eye on the ring. Just a little peek behind the curtain, but all of us crying, man. Like it was a beautiful, beautiful time. That's what I'm here for in the business today, for moments like that. And that Rockwood crowd, I love coming up there for that, man. I don't miss any of those shows because that takes me back to when wrestling was wrestling, man. Ox Harley is a phenomenal promoter. Jesse's doing a phenomenal job on the talent end of things, and got a good little group of young up and comers that are hungry for the business, want to learn, and a hot crowd that I love to perform in front of, and they're now a part of my family, as you well know. Like that wrestling family for a lot of people is the only family that they have. That's not my story, but it is very much as much a part of my family as any other, as my blood is.
Okay, so we're gonna finish out. I'm gonna leave you with one last question. Okay, so this one sometimes people just breeze past, but what would you like to be at the end of the day, at the end of it all? What do you want your legacy to be in professional wrestling? Like, what do you want to be remembered for?
Man, that's tough. So it's kind of changed, man. Like back in the day, I just wanted to be a star. Like it was all about like how much attention can I possibly get. Today, I want to be able to help the young guys, learn the business, and if I can help them with contacts or just advice or anything like that. I also want to be there for anybody that's struggling for addiction or struggling with addiction, and just be a good, solid person, man, a good representative for the business. I wasn't for a long time, but today I just want to be a good representative of the business and put on the best show that I can. I want to plug one thing real quick. In July, we just had our first Wrestling for Recovery event in January. Over 650 people. We were able to raise a lot of money for Hustle Recovery and the Quentin Clark Foundation. and we're going to bring it back in July. We're in negotiations with several people right now, really trying to work toward like Billy Gunn or Dustin Rhodes. I really want to do a couple years of shows of somebody that's in recovery, a headliner that's in recovery that can come share their story, and just put on a great night of a cheap wrestling action for people. So yeah, I just want to be a good representative of the business and leave it in a better place than I found it when I got here.
Awesome. Love it. All right, brother. Thank you for coming on here. This part 2 will so I'm gonna do this Wednesday, so this will be the following Wednesday, because this was a good
Gotcha.
a good I appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. Ring announcer Troy Beasley, a man of Mr. Entertainment, as we found out today, and a good part of wrestling and of where he can find a way to help all the people. I'll put links to everything. Send me everything, and we'll put it in the thing. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Jackson Black Show. Good night, and have a good one.